Thank you for listening to the Family Unit Radio Show, which airs Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central and 7 p.m. Pacific. Listen to the show only on the Resilient Christian Radio.
About the harmful effects of what government does when it intervenes. So I'm reading here, and I love this book because this book is really. Reason why I'm reading from this book here because this book is a challenging reference on a lot of the things that's been going on in our society. And it's the book title is The Economics for Everybody, Applying Biblical Principles to Work, Wealth, and the World. And the author is R.C. Sparrow Jr. And his father is R.C. Sparrow Sr., who's a theologian, a very, very critical theologian in this time, who been very, very critical on the things that's going on in the church today. And the son, who is an expert in economics, he literally knows what it looks like when a government-run school do to the child. And that's why he homeschooled his kids. And the reason why is that the government influence and how government comes in try to, literally change the dynamic of the child's mind literally has some harmful effects. I mean, literally. I want you to think about a couple of things here. You, as a parent, are you hyper focused on the grades that the child made, or are you more want to know if they are learning? That's a good question, because sometimes you never really come to grips on the fact that you have kids that doesn't learn nothing. I mean, they get good grades, but they don't learn or know or keep or obtain knowledge on anything that have to obtain to life or godliness. I mean, at all. But we go on and send them to school, say, well, they get a good education. They go into this school here down the road, which we have checked out and said that they are pretty predominant in education. They get high marks according to the school board and the demographics and everything else. But you can send a child to a great school in a public school, but do they attain anything? And the reason why it's very, very, very important that you want your child to obtain or to have some kind of ability to retain knowledge is because then you want them to use it as they grow to become something that God called them to be. You just simply cannot assume that the schools will do that for you. And I know that I did an interview this week with two men from a organization called Project Purpose, which is located in Denver, Colorado. And I talked to these two men because these men literally get the troubled youth, take the time with them, and understand their purpose, something that the public schools never would do. And I know there's some people who listen who are in public school, but think about this. Did you learn from your, learn your training and everything else that you have to focus on the child's purpose? Have you find that the purpose that the child have is geared to what you don't teach at school? Have you ever thought about that? No, you try to get them to become subjective instead of be more objective to God, be more submissive to Him. But a lot of them go to churches every day, saying they're doing very well, proud to be a teacher. But you are propagating a system that doesn't formulate biblical truth. Matter of fact, they took God away from it, and look what's that now. You got trouble youth going all over the place, doing all kinds of crime, and doing all kinds of stuff that, the main reason is because God's not in it. But we pray, and put money into a system that doesn't work. But and the government said that we need to do this. Do you know that it's almost like 15-20% of a broken system? 20% of taxpayer dollars going to a broken system. 20% of the budget in our government is going to a system that doesn't work. And why? Well, because we've really figured that it's really more a potential for it to really do something about it. But that's not even making any sense whatsoever. I mean, do you think, logically here, what I'm about to say here is this. Have you ever considered the fact that more people that keep going into this crazy cycle will figure out, you know what, we're not going nowhere with this. You know, you keep doing the same thing over again. Then you try to do new things and keep getting the same results. It's called insanity. Do you understand that means? Well, it's the same to keep sending your kids to school, repeat every little thing from kindergarten or Head Start all the way to the 12th grade, and they still don't know nothing. I mean, what's their purpose? What's their drive? And that's why I really want to hammer on the common sense on why education from a government standpoint literally causes problems. And it also does affect the economy. It affects the way of life. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get to the topic like this. Now, education may seem like a strange place to start talking about the impact of government intervention in an economy, but it is the best place for two important reasons. A, education determines how a culture understands and engages the world, including the way it practices economics. And here are some reasons. If you want to influence a society socially and economically, control how and what it teaches its children. This is why the Bible makes parents the primary educational authority for children. A nation's ability to develop one generation after another of good biblical stewards is tied directly of how it educates them. It is cultural. If the culture does not really understand economics, it will be much easier to mislead economically. And second, if you want to reduce the influence of biblical Christianity on a people, then just control their education. Since such control would be difficult to obtain with consistency at the local level, it would be necessary to establish some kind of central government intervention over education, first at the state level, then at the federal level. That's exactly what happened in the United States. Now, I want to really touch on that because it's really good critical points that I want to say about that. You got to understand the point A and point B. Point A was talking about if you want to influence a society socially and economically, control how and what it teaches its children. That's how you do it. If you see, that's why the devil wants our children. That is the main reason why. Because the devil knows that if you get an impressionable mind, right? If you get an impressionable mind, and you can change it any kind of way you want to, you could control society and the world. This is a simple influence. Look what's going on now with all this hatred, with all this stuff going on. And they try to blame it on one man, but it's not like that. It's just like some things has come out the woodwork from people from the far left doing this stuff. Now, you try to say, well, Cleveland, you talk so much and you hammer on the far left all the time in every show you talk about. I got emails about that. I'm about to read in just a second. But I am saying this because it's really, really a directive that's been going on for a very long time. And it's been very, very it's skewed that it's going into the various core of people's lives, especially the way that people are getting taught. That's why a lot of liberals are in educational stands, like for higher levels of education, like from elementary, from junior high to high school, and all the way to college. And also, it usually be professors that usually mold these kids into becoming just like them, atheistic, humanistic, secular people that never trust and have any adherence to God, meaning their hearts are so hardened against God. And here's an email from Joseph in Spokane, Washington. And he made an email comment about why am I hammering the far left. And here, I'm going to summarize it just a little bit here. And he said this, that I see that you so hard focus on the left and why and liberalism. You tame your words as they are more of hatred and more of discreet. And you look at them as like they are fools and also predators of evil. Why is that? Because if that is the case, how would things like helping the homeless and everything else would be affected from the people from the left? And that's a great question, and I'm going to answer it right now. Because look at this. People from the far left use those programs to propagate themselves. But the money really comes from the people who makes the money. And usually people from the far left usually be the ones who try to use influence, education, the arts, entertainment, anything that has to do to reach out to the mindset of people, and never really look at the of the proper cause. A lot of them don't want to own anything, but they want to own things like social justice to even community organization, and it literally cause a lot of problems down the road. Do you understand that someone who does these things usually are being more socialistic than as a person who really want to help the poor? But a lot of times when, the most generous people in the world are people who does make more money, who are the ones who understand and how economics work, and they utilize those funds to give to the poor or use it for help the poor. These are the things that people who are so in tune to what the biblical standpoints are to be able to facilitate to the people in need. Now, I'm not saying everyone on the left is crazy, but the roots of it makes a whole lot of sense of what's going on. And you could go around and say, well, both sides are extreme. Not necessarily. And we're going to talk a little bit about that on another show. But even with that, no, it's I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm not saying that it's actually a direct assault. But a lot of people from the people who are conservatives don't usually do the things as extreme. Now they try to label people who are Nazis and people in that kind of nature are part of the alt-right. That's not even true, because if you really look at the history of the Nazis, they are a socialist party, part of the left. You know that the fascists are part of the socialist party, part of the left. And you know that a lot of people from the Ku Klux Klan, and the list goes on, white supremacy, everything else, are part of the left because they use things of hatred that is stemmed from the Democrat Party, part of the left. That's what you want to call it. That's what it is. If you look this up yourself, and all the truth is right there in front of you. And also, we can put some of that out as well. If you want to know more information, just go ahead and email us over here at the Resilient Christian Radio Network, and we will be able to send that to you. And also,
check us out at Facebook at RCR Network, and also on Twitter at RCR_network, and our website at rcrnetwork.com.